Hi, this is Steven from Just Got Played, and today I'm going to unbox and talk a little bit about For the King and Me. So this was designed by Steve Finn. He normally publishes his own games, but this is a reworking of his game, Biblios, and it's published by IELLO. You can see it's for 2 to 5 players, and that's one of the big differences between this and Biblios, which only goes up to 4. Ages 10 and up, I don't know about that. 30 minutes, that sounds about right. I have played Biblios. I have not played this. As you can see here, achieve the majority in the best offices, speculate on their value, step into the best government roles. All right, so let's get this open and see what is in here. So obviously this is a re-theming, so the art is different as well. But the rules look pretty much the same to me. All right, so there's the contents. Tells you how to set up. There's a different side of the board depending on setup. It talks about the gameplay. All right, so the game is basically played in 2 phases. One where you're getting a bunch of cards and giving cards to other players. And then another phase where you're auctioning off some cards. All right, and then there's the end of the game, and that's where you just add up your points. I think leftover money is the tiebreaker. I'm sure it mentions it in there. All right, so here is a sheet, I guess, telling you what cards are in play at what player count. Although, if you're playing with less than 5, you do randomly remove some cards from the deck. Actually, it says right here, 8, 13, 22. So you don't necessarily know what cards are in there unless you're playing at 5 players because you're playing with all the cards. All right, interesting. All right, so these are the duties. So we'll look at some of these duty tiles. There's always 2 duty tiles underneath each one of these royals or whatever. So, for instance, if you've got the royal spokesman there as the primary spokesperson there as the primary duty, then you're going to have the next one below it. The secondary duty is going to be half rounded down. It's going to be below. So the letter opener. All right, I'll show you those where they go on the board. And these are the different sort of suits, colors in the game, right? So you've got red and blue and green and orange and purple and pink. And 3 of these are more valuable than the other 3. Well, I don't know about more valuable, but the cards, because I guess the value is the same, but the cards in the deck, they range from 2 to 4 or 1 to 3, depending on the color of the suit. All right, so you're going to choose to represent one of these advisors at the beginning of the game. And these advisors are double-sided, so you can decide, do you want that portrait or do you want that portrait? It's pretty good. All right, so there are those portraits, and there's the opposite side of all those portraits. So it's nice that you have that choice. Here's that board. All right, so somewhere on this board, I think it tells you, maybe not. But if you're playing at 4 or less players, you play with these 5, I guess, royals or whatever these are. And those are the 5 sort of suits. But if you're playing with 5 players, you play with 6. And this is where those duty tiles come in, right? So you're going to have this here. You're going to have this here, and you can modify the primary duty tile during the game, and that will automatically affect the secondary duty tile. Because again, the secondary one is half of the first one, the primary one, rounded down. All right, so that's interesting. Never seen a little cover like that before. I'm sure that'll be useful when I go to put everything back in the box. All right, let's look at some of the cards here. I mean, when you boil it all down, this is really just a card game. And people are going to take turns being the, I don't know, the primary person acting during the turn. And I don't know why this will not open. Sorry, I had to use a knife on that one. You know, those things are made to open, but then I find half the time they don't. Okay. All right, so there are cards here, right? So there's the card back, and then let's look at what the cards here. All right, so there are gold cards. So gold cards are useful to get because in the sort of second phase, you're going to be auctioning off cards. So if in the first phase you collect a bunch of gold cards, you can buy specific cards in the second phase, which is really nice. You can also get some gold cards in the second phase by discarding cards maybe that are sort of useless to you. And you don't get any change, by the way, when you use these. So anyway, they go from 1 to 2 to 3. I think 3 is the most. Yep. Okay. And these are, I don't know what they're called, the king tiles maybe. So these allow you to modify the value of those duty tiles that I talked about. So for instance, this one, which I think this means that you would only play with it in a 5-player game. So that's what the numbers down here say. This says this affects 1 duty tile, and you can raise the primary duty tile by 1 or lower it by 1, right? So there's several of those. This one allows you to do 2 duty tiles, plus, minus. Okay, I don't know why. I don't understand why those 2 symbols are not the same. But maybe that means they both have to do the same. Maybe that's why it's like that. Okay. All right, there's another one, just +1, single 1, -1. And usually you play, as soon as you get these, you have to do the effect on the duty tiles. And so you may not, earlier in the game when you get these, they may not be as valuable because you're not sure which suits you sort of have the most points in. All right, but there we go. There's a bunch of these. I like the art on these. That's cool. All right, I'm gonna go straight to the knife on this deck instead of trying to mess with it. There we go. That was much easier. All right, so again, same art on all the backs of these. What do we have here? All right, so this is the red suit again. Some dangerous tennis game going on there. All right, so we've got the red 2s. And then there are red 3s and red 4s. So red must be one of those more valuable suits that I talked about. The blue suits, I think they thematically have something going on, depending on what they are. But there again, these are 2, 3, and 4. Different piece of art for each different value. That's nice. Here's the pink one. Looks like some sort of messenger job, I guess. 2, 3. Oh, nice. Maybe it's just the person who takes care of animals. And 4. All right, cool. 2, 3, and 4 still. All right, here we go. Here are ones that are just going to be 1, 2, and 3. All right, so here's orange. 1. And, there's a bunch of 1s. And so this is definitely the cooking 1. All right, so here's some 2s. Wow, that's mostly 1s with a couple of 2s. So again, that doesn't make it more or less powerful. That just makes it, a different way you have to pay attention to, getting more of these cards mean you're more likely to be winning it versus some of the others where, if they're higher value cards that are twice as valuable as the one that you have. Anyway, just something to pay attention to. We got purple here. Looks like we got a guard asleep at his post. And the 2, a catapult. All right. Firing the wrong way, apparently. Nice. So again, that was the same. A bunch of 1s and 2s on that one. And all right, again, we got 1s. And I guess it's just going to be a bunch of 1s and a couple of 2s. I don't know if that's an architect or what's going on there. But yeah, there you go. For the King and Me. So I was really happy to find a copy of this really cheap. I've always wanted a copy of Biblios, but it's been a little expensive every time I've seen it, and only was up to 4 players. So I just kept sort of passing on getting it. But this one goes up to 5 and was really inexpensive. And the box really is not that big, so I'm happy about that. So I'm excited to play this, see if it feels any different to me. I don't think it will, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. Anyway, for the King and Me, if you have any questions about this, you can leave a comment here on YouTube or look in the description down below. I've got a link to our Discord channel. Be happy to talk to you about whatever you want to talk to about board games over there. Yeah, but until the next time, thanks for joining me.